next presenter will be Prashant Bhangul, and his paper is Predictors of Survival after Living Donor Liver Transplantation in Cirrhotic Patients with Hepatocellular Carcinoma.
Chairperson, sir, ladies and gentlemen, presenting our study on predictors of survival after living donor liver transplantation in cirrhotic patients with hepatocellular carcinoma. Various criteria based on tumor size and number have been proposed for selecting cirrhotic patients with HCC for liver transplantation. Of course, everyone is aware of the seminal paper in 1996, which defined the Milan criteria, which defined and found that the overall survival and recurrence-free survival at 4 years was 85 and 93%. This has been accepted by UNOS as conventional criteria. This was found to be very restrictive, and therefore a large number of other criteria were defined. I've marked the UCSF criteria because that's the only criteria that was revalidated and has been validated in other centers as well. The latest new Milan is the up to 7, and the 5 criteria listed down primarily have come from LDLT center. The main aim for expansion and the rationale for expansion was that the results were almost comparable to those that were attained by the Milan criteria, even when the criteria was modestly expanded. So this is our current selection criteria. We accept patients for LDLT at our center when they have no extrahepatic disease, no major vascular invasion by the tumor that includes the right or left portal vein, the right middle left hepatic vein, and the vena cava, and no medical contraindication to liver transplant, irrespective of tumor size and number. So the aim of our study was to analyze survival outcomes, that's overall survival and recurrence-free survival in HCC cirrhotic patients accepted for LDLT using our expanded criteria, and therefore analyze after that the prognostic factors for overall survival and recurrence-free survival. From our prospectively maintained database, we studied all these parameters: patient demographics, etiology of liver disease, tumor characteristics from imaging and pathology, their post-liver transplant course, and of course the short and the long-term outcomes. So till July 2012, we chose July 2012 to have a minimum follow-up of at least 1 year after the last transplant. We had performed 1,063 liver transplants. The total number of cirrhotic patients with HCC who underwent liver transplant during this period was 200. 4 of these patients had had a disease donor liver transplant, whereas 9 of them did not have HCC on the explant. And therefore, finally, we had 187 patients proven histologically on the explant having HCC cirrhosis, which accounted for 17.6% of the total number of transplants done during this period. These were the patient characteristics: mean age of 55 years, 82% were males, and HCV was the primary cause of underlying CLD in these patients, accounting for 46%. We had 13 perioperative deaths, which accounts for 7%. In the rest of the 174 patients, we had a mean follow-up of 30 months. At last follow-up, 149 out of these 174 patients were alive, which is 86%, and 139 out of the 174 were alive without recurrence, which is 80% of the total of 174 followed up for 30 months. The total number of patients who recurred were 30 out of the 174, which accounts for 17%, and the median time for recurrence was just above a year. The number of patients who died, half of them died because of recurrence, and these were the other causes as to why we had patient deaths. Now, looking at these patients from the point of view of characterization as per the Milan and the UCSF conventional criteria, we had 53% of patients who were within Milan and 63% of patients who were within UCSF. This is our overall and recurrence-free survival at 3 years: 82% overall survival, 74% recurrence-free survival. Coming to the prognostic factors, when we looked at the univariate analysis, and this is the overall survival and recurrence-free survival in each of these groups, we found that AFP more than and equal to 200 nanogram per deciliter was a prognostic factor for both overall as well as recurrence-free survival: 90% versus 70% overall, and 83% versus 60%. We validated the Milan and UCSF criteria in our study as well. Here again, on univariate, Milan criteria, significantly different overall survival: 92% versus 73%, and 88% versus 60%. Same with the UCSF criteria: 94% versus 63%, and 90% versus 47% outside UCSF. As has been found in many studies and has been constantly found, microvascular tumor invasion was one of the predictors factors for both overall as well as recurrence-free survival, 90% versus 66% and 88% versus 57%. So just in the tabulated form, once again, preoperative AFP more than equal to 200, Milan criteria, UCSF criteria, microvascular tumor invasion, and macrovascular tumor involvement. I said in my previous slide that we don't select patients with macrovascular, but these were 12.6% of patients who had macrovascular involvement, unsuspected on pre-op imaging, and detected on the explant pathology. When we looked at multivariate analysis, out of these 5 factors, beyond Milan did not come out as significant at multivariate analysis. Pre-op AFP, beyond UCSF, microvascular tumor invasion, and macrovascular were significant on multivariate analysis. So to conclude, using our expanded criteria, excluding perioperative deaths, 3-year OS and RFS, 82% and 74% respectively, 80% of recipients alive without recurrence at last follow-up, 17% of patients recurred, half of them died. Pre-LT AFP more than equal to 200 and tumors beyond UCSF, as well as presence of MVI. Although this is difficult to detect preoperatively, are prognostic markers for both overall survival and recurrence-free survival, and these prognostic factors may help in identifying high-risk patients. So based on these studies, how have we changed our practice? From Jan 2013, patients who have more than equal to 1 adverse factor, tumor beyond UCSF criteria, and high AFP preoperatively, or microvascular tumor invasion on the explant. Of course, we used to do it before, but now we counsel them obviously for a higher recurrence and inferior survival than those who do not. These are candidates for pre-LT ablative therapy, and now we have set in place a prospective study where we are doing preoperative TACE followed by liver transplant in these patients beyond criteria and with more than 1 adverse factor, modulation of immunosuppression regime post-LT, and more meticulous post-operative follow-up. Thank you very much.